Alright guys, today I wanted to make a video just reviewing some of the weekend's Premier League action. Start off with Man United beating Everton 2-0 at Old Trafford. And yeah, this is a result that you wouldn't really surprise you. It was expected really, and United were by far the better team. Everton defensively in this game were just so easily broken down. It just took United at times one long ball over the top. In fact, Harry Maguire in this game had one of the best games I've seen him probably in 18 months for Man United, just because he wasn't really tested defensively. And on the ball, which is one of his strong points actually, he was allowed to distribute the ball however he wanted. And when he had runners like Anthony, Sancho, Marcus Rashford, all getting in behind the Everton defence, it was just, too easy for him. And the truth is, Jordan Pickford stopped this game from being an absolute thrashing to Man United, because the amount of saves he made, especially in the first half, I thought throughout the game, Bruno Fernandes could have scored twice, Rashford could have scored twice, Anthony could have had a couple, Wan-Bissaka should have scored. This could have been an absolute mauling if it wasn't for Jordan Pickford, I think. United eventually got the breakthrough in the first half. It took them a lot longer than they should have because of how good Pickford was in goal. And it came through Scott McTominay. And it was poor defending from Everton, to be honest. Marcus Rashford's got the ball on the edge of the box. And there's about 3 opportunities for any of Everton's midfielders to stop him from just dribbling along the edge of the 18-yard box and eventually picking out McTominay. It was just poor defending. And yeah, that made it 1-0 to United. And Everton did have a very good chance to break the deadlock themselves in the first half through Ellis Sims, but it was just one of them where it didn't really sit quite right for him. And I don't think he was light enough on his feet. It was just one of them where it's probably the first time that Sims has played at Old Trafford. It's a huge ground. It's probably something he's never experienced before. He's a young player, and maybe that just affected his coolness in front of goal in that moment. So yeah, things like that can happen, but it wasn't to the benefit of Everton in this game, because the amount of chances they got were very limited. David De Gea didn't really have a lot to do at all. And Pickford continued keeping Everton in the game in the second half, because, take a guess, Everton's defending didn't really improve in the second half, to be honest. It was just too easy for United. They made a few subs, United. Eriksen, Anthony Martial, they came on. Martial got the second goal. Came from an error from Seamus Coleman. Just one of them, really. That sort of error is going to happen to you once or twice a season. Coleman's been such a good servant for Everton. I don't think he should be thrown under the bus for it. Rashford took full advantage and found Martial, who has a ridiculously good goal-scoring record against Everton, if I remember correctly. I can remember quite a few goals he scored against Everton. The one that stands out for me is the one he scored in the 2016 FA Cup semi-final, I think, at Wembley, obviously. And yeah, that was a really good goal. And yeah, that just, the second goal just killed the game off completely. And Everton, they just sort of went out with a whimper, to be honest, because they didn't really test David De Gea enough. They had a couple of long strikes from players like Alex Iwobi and Damari Gray, but other than that, there wasn't really enough to say that they gave it a proper go this game. It wasn't the sort of performance you expect from a Sean Dyche team. That they were just so open at the back, and that they didn't get forwards enough. They didn't throw enough players forward. But yeah, for United, it's a good home win. It's what you expect. I think anything other than a win in this game would have been disappointing for them, especially as they're still very much in a top 4 battle. They're now behind Newcastle because of their form over the past few weeks. So yeah, they've still got a fight on their hands to make sure they stay in the top 4 till the end of the season. But you'd think they should be able to do so. They've also got Europa League and FA Cup to play in, but I think top 4 will definitely be what they want to get back into the Champions League for sure. And then in the Saturday tea time kickoff, Man City went to Southampton. And yeah, they got the result you expect them to get as well. But it was more difficult than I think it initially seems, because it took them around about 45 minutes to get the goal. I think it was the end of the first half that Haaland managed to get on the end of Kevin De Bruyne's cross. But City were really struggling to get through the Southampton defence, and also struggling to get bodies back when Southampton were hitting them on the break, because that happened in a couple of occasions in the first half. I think the main opportunity was Kamaldeen Sulemana managing to break away from a corner, and he had the pace to get there, but Nathan Ake closed him down, and in the end, a poor touch took the chance away from him and allowed Ederson to come in and sweep up. But Southampton certainly had opportunities to score a goal in the first half, which I feel they should have probably taken, well, at least one of them anyway, and that would have given them a great chance of getting something out of this game. I mean, they're the huge underdogs in this game, Southampton, so this defeat isn't going to feel like a crushing blow to their survival hopes, but it's just one of them, really. On another day with a bit more luck, it could have gone differently. If they'd have just kept it 0-0 until half time, maybe Ruben Selles could have allowed them to regroup and try and go for a different game plan, just to sort of see the game out a little bit. But once that first goal went in from Erling Haaland, and it was a brilliant cross by De Bruyne for his 100th Premier League assist as well. I think he's only the 5th player to reach that landmark, which is just incredible, really. And he's just an incredible player, to be honest. But Haaland, that's definitely going to help his assist numbers going forward. And yeah, after half time, Grealish got a second, and Jack Grealish since Christmas time has just been unreal. And I think part of it is down to this change in formation from Guardiola. I think initially people criticised it, including myself, because it just didn't look right. A 3-2-4-1. You've got 4 centre midfielders effectively, but it seems to have started working for City. There are obviously going to be weak points in this system that can be exploited on the counter attack, things like that. But it seems to be working, and it seems to be of the beneficiary to players like Jack Grealish, because what it means is that because Grealish hasn't got a Cancelo or a Zinchenko behind him playing left back like he did last season, he's now playing effectively as a left midfielder rather than a left winger, which means that he will pick the ball up deeper, and that means he can bring it forward, which is what he's really good at. He's not amazing, Grealish, at having the ball in a dangerous situation already, because what he's very good at is carrying the ball forward. So I think this change in formation has definitely helped his game, and he took his goal brilliantly, managed to get the rebound, which was really well taken as well with the outside of his boot. And the Erling Haaland overhead kick, once again, such a special goal. And I think, was that his 30th in the Premier League this season? It was definitely close to it. He must be on 29 or 30, so he's not far off the Premier League record now. And what a season he's having. I mean, you can have the debate over, are City a better team with him in it, but regardless, he's doing brilliantly. And before Alvarez scored a 4th penalty after Erling Haaland got substituted, which I don't think he'd be annoyed about, because I think he could probably see why Guardiola did it with the Champions League coming up midweek. But I'm sure he'd have loved to have got a hat-trick. And it was definitely a penalty as well. Kyle Walker-Peters dived in and wasn't really going to get the ball. But that was after Southampton pulled 1 back. It was a consolation goal, but it was a brilliant one at that, with the dribbling skills of Moussa Djenepo, and Sekou Mara's 2nd goal against Man City this season, and his 2nd goal for Southampton. So that's a little bit strange that you don't see that every day. A player scores 2 goals against the same team but in different matches, and then scores none other that season. And then the final game I wanted to cover today was Crystal Palace coming from behind to absolutely hammer Leeds 5-1. And yeah, this game, Leeds, it was just an exaggerated version of what their season's been like, I think, because I don't think every week's been as bad as this game was. But so dominant in the first half. Palace barely had a kick in the first half, and yet they only get one goal from it when they should have got more. Brendan Aronson had a brilliant chance to score another one. Bamford did score the goal, and don't get me wrong, it was a superb header right into the far corner, but he wasn't marked very well, I didn't think, by Crystal Palace. I think that's the one of the few criticisms I would have of them in this game. But they came back from 1-0 down superbly, and just looking at the way they play, it was like liquid football at times. And I just think Roy Hodgson, in the 2 games he's come in, he just seems to have corrected everything that was wrong with their starting 11. And I think Patrick Vieira, to be honest, has got blood on his hands, because how has Vieira come to the conclusion, and I was thinking this at times when he was managing Crystal Palace, but how did he come to the conclusion that dropping Abire Eze was for the benefit of the team? Eze's one of the most talented dribblers there is in the Premier League right now, and just suits Crystal Palace's style of play superbly. So I don't know how he came to the conclusion that he should be dropped and players like Luka Milivojevic or Will Hughes should be starting ahead of him. So yeah, it was just dumbfounding, to be honest. Palace got the equaliser before half-time through Mark Gay, and it wasn't the best defending from Leeds. In truth, Palace should have equalised just before that from Jeff Schlupp in a similar set-piece situation. But Ilham Meslier, I think, for the Gahey goal was... Why is he come out like that? It was like a half-hearted attempt to get the ball. If he's going to do that, he may as well just stay on his line and try and save it like he normally would. It was just a bit of a pathetic attempt, I think, really. And Meslier, he gets a lot of credit. I'm still not convinced by him, to be honest. I know he's a very, very young goalkeeper, but a lot of people talk about him being a target for some of the bigger clubs, and I just don't think he's ready for that step up. Well, I think he possibly could be in the future if he, sharpens up a few areas of his game, but at the moment I just don't think he's ready for a Tottenham or a team like that. But yeah, it got worse for Leeds in the second half. 2 quick goals from Jordan Ayew and Eze, both set up by Elise. I think Elise got a hat-trick of assists in the end, so he had an amazing afternoon and was just absolutely brilliant on the right-hand side of Crystal Palace's attack. And yeah, especially Eze's goal, it's just so smooth, the pass through. The fourth coming from Odsonne-Edouard, brilliant strike from him into the bottom corner, proper striker's finish, and the final goal was a bit of a maybe less tidy goal. It was a scuffed shot from Will Hughes that fell to Ayew, and he put it away for his second of the game. But it was just a fantastic performance from Crystal Palace, and they look like they've really got their mojo back under Roy Hodgson. I think Vieira had it tough at times, but I think with the squad that Palace have got, with the talent, you look at Odsonne-Edouard, even Mateta. I know his goal-scoring record's not great, but he's a good forward to have to bring off the bench as well, I think. And the talented players in midfield, like even Czech Decore's impressed me this season. You've got hard workers like Jeff Schlupp. You've got talented players on the ball, Eze, Michael Elise. That's enough in attack to, in theory, be able to score at least every game, which they haven't been doing. In fact, there's been times where I think they've failed to score in like 2 or 3 games on the trot. So, it wasn't good enough under Patrick Vieira, I don't think. And Hodgson's come in, and it looks like he's instantly turned it around. Because what people forget is Hodgson was never sacked by Palace. He left because he wanted to retire. And now he's back. He looks like he's got them back to how they were before Vieira joined.